Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a fascinating and honestly, highly practical journey into something you probably deal with every single week. We're talking about the culinary life cycle of chicken. We're going to completely replace kitchen folklore, old wives' tales, and that infamous sniff test with hard thermodynamics and microbiology. By the end of this, you won't just know the rules of food storage, you're going to understand the exact science behind them.
I mean, we've all been there, right? It's Wednesday evening, you open the fridge, and you spot the baked chicken from Sunday's dinner. You're just staring into the cold light of the refrigerator, doing that mental math on your leftovers. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, that's 4 days. You pick it up, it looks fine, but you're just not sure. And this anxiety, this constant kitchen guesswork, it usually leads to either risking a foodborne illness or throwing away perfectly good food just out of guilt and fear. Well, it doesn't have to be this way.
Okay, let's dive into this. The United States Department of Agriculture is actually incredibly clear on this matter. Their standard recommendation is 3 to 4 days. But that first sentence, that is the absolute key to everything we're going to talk about today. Refrigeration slows but does not stop bacterial growth.
So here's our roadmap for mastering the culinary life cycle. First, we'll look at the science of spoilage. Then, storing raw chicken safely. After that, the strict 2-hour rule. Next, cooked chicken storage timelines. And finally, freezing and thawing safely.
All right, Section 1, the science of spoilage. Here is exactly why chicken spoils faster than you think.
You see, unlike acidic foods like pickles or yogurt or low-moisture items like beef jerky, raw poultry lacks those intrinsic microbial inhibitors. Chicken is roughly 74 to 76% water by weight, and it has a totally neutral pH. So biologically speaking, it's the absolute perfect medium for pathogenic bacteria to thrive. When chicken enters what we call the danger zone, that's between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, bacteria go into rapid exponential growth. Remember, refrigeration doesn't magically kill these pathogens, it only stretches out their replication time. To put that into perspective, at room temperature, Salmonella's generation time is just 20 minutes, but pop it in a cold fridge and that slows way down to about 12 hours.
And that brings us to a massive, absolutely crucial number, 40 degrees Fahrenheit. This is your absolute maximum safe threshold for refrigeration. Listen to this. Even if your fridge is hovering just 1 single degree higher, at 41 degrees, real-time lab trials show that a single bacterial cell can multiply to highly infectious levels within 36 hours. That is exactly why just looking at it and saying, it looks fine, is never, ever sufficient evidence of safety.
Moving on to Section 2, storing raw chicken safely. This covers the critical first hour and fridge mapping. Now, what's really interesting here is how temperature abuse actually begins the exact moment you leave the grocery store. Here is your definitive cheat sheet for raw poultry pulled straight from the FDA and foodsafety.gov guidelines. Notice how incredibly uniform that refrigerator limit is across the board? 1 to 2 days. Whether it's a whole bird, cut pieces, or ground poultry, that 1 to 2 day rule is a thermodynamic inevitability. It's not just some conservative guess by government agencies, it's the actual physical limit before microbial loads completely exceed safety thresholds in your average home fridge.
But it's not just about how long you store it, it's about where you store it. Your fridge isn't just one uniform box of cold air. It features thermal stratification. The top shelves, and especially the door shelves, they fluctuate every single time you open the door, often hitting an unsafe 45 degrees. Meanwhile, the bottom shelf, usually right above that crisper drawer, stays consistently between 33 and 35 degrees. This bottom zone is literally the only safe home for raw meat. Oh, and pro tip, always place it on a rimmed plate down there just so cross-contamination from any accidental drips is physically impossible.
Okay, let's talk about prep. And we need to debunk a massive, honestly dangerous kitchen myth right now. Step 1. Never ever wash raw chicken in the sink. Splashing water literally aerosolizes salmonella up to 3 feet across your countertops, your clean dishes, and your fresh produce. No way. Instead, just pat it dry with paper towels. And if you really want to extend its fridge life while drastically improving the texture, use this double-bag dry brine hack. Place the chicken on a wire rack over a baking sheet, pat it dry, and loosely cover it with 2 unbleached parchment sheets. This lets the surface safely dry out in that super cold bottom shelf zone, completely preventing that slimy, anaerobic spoilage you get when it's just suffocated in plastic wrap.
All right, moving into Section 3, the strict 2-hour rule. We're looking at why heat can't reverse time. This is the critical transition phase between raw and cooked. 2 hours. That's it. 2 hours is your absolute, non-negotiable cumulative limit for raw or cooked chicken left out at ambient room temperature. The clock starts ticking the second it's in your grocery bag, on your kitchen counter, or sitting out at your dinner table. If you pass this number, the chicken absolutely must be discarded.
So, the crucial point here is understanding exactly why this rule is so unforgiving. You know, a lot of people think, hey, if I left it out a bit too long, I'll just cook it extra hot and kill all the bacteria, right? Wrong. Cooking chicken to 165 degrees only eliminates the live bacteria. It does not destroy the heat-stable enterotoxins that those bacteria produced while they were just hanging out in the danger zone. I mean, things like staphylococcus toxins can literally survive boiling for 30 minutes. Time and temperature abuse cannot be magically reversed by cooking. So if it was forgotten on the counter overnight, throw it out immediately. No exception.
Section 4. Cooked chicken storage timelines. Navigating the 3 to 4 day meal prep window. This is where families and meal preppers face the most daily guesswork.
Do you notice a pattern here? Whether it's a whole roasted bird, fried chicken, shredded pieces, or nuggets, the cooking method doesn't magically extend that reliable 3 to 4 day rule. The only slight exception is chicken salad, which buys you maybe one extra day just because the acidity in the mayonnaise creates a mildly preservative environment. But as a general rule of thumb, day 4 is your strict deadline.
Now, to ensure your leftovers actually make it to day 4 safely, you have to cool them properly. Shoving a giant piping hot container of cooked chicken directly into your fridge, that actually raises the internal ambient temperature of the whole fridge, endangering literally everything else in there. Instead, you'll want to implement a rapid cooling protocol. Just portion the hot chicken into shallow stainless steel pans. Keep it under 2 inches deep. If you really want to speed things up, fan blast it with a food-safe air mover for about 15 minutes. Then, pop it in the fridge uncovered for 30 minutes to let all that residual heat escape before finally sealing it with a tight layered lid.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a highly efficient, zero-waste 7-day meal prep workflow. Day 0 is your cook day. This is when you make an immediate decision on what you're actually going to eat by Wednesday and just freeze the rest right away. Days 1 and 2, that's your optimal eating window. Perfect moisture and texture for cold applications like salads. By days 3 and 4, the chicken is definitely drying out, so you want to pivot to heated, sauce-heavy dishes like stir-fries or stews. And on day 5, discard anything left over immediately, period. Do not rely on smell alone here.
Finally, Section 5, freezing and thawing safely. This covers long-term storage and troubleshooting spoilage as we hit the final stage of our culinary life cycle.
You know, the physics of safe thawing are just as important as cooling. Never, ever thaw chicken at room temperature. If you do, the exterior meat enters the danger zone and starts aggressively growing bacterial colonies while the core is still a solid block of frozen ice. Always thaw it in the fridge, ideally down on that cold bottom shelf in a sealed bag. And plan ahead. Allow 24 to 36 hours for a whole bird or about 12 to 18 hours for boneless breasts. If you're super rushed, using a cold water bath or the microwave defrost setting are your only safe alternatives.
And when it's time to bring that previously cooked frozen chicken back to life, always reheat it to a safe internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. That is non-negotiable to eliminate any surviving bacteria. Remember, freezing halts bacterial growth, but it doesn't sterilize the food. So, use a calibrated food thermometer. The visual difference between a dangerously warm 155 degrees and a perfectly safe 165 degrees is completely invisible to the human eye.
If you're ever doubting your storage, you can perform this 3-point sensory spoilage triangulation. Visually, discard it if you see any gray-green tinges, iridescent rainbows, or visible mold. That's a sure sign of a bacterial biofilm. Tactily, discard it if the surface feels slimy, sticky, or tacky. And olfactory, discard it if there's a sour, ammonia-like, or sweet, rotten aroma. But hear me loud and clear on this. Some of the absolute deadliest foodborne pathogens produce no odor or visual cues at all. That makes your date label supreme. If it's past the timeline, sensory checks do not matter. Throw it away.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you understand the precise scientific boundaries of bacterial growth, what are you going to do tonight when you look in your fridge? Will you continue relying on kitchen folklore and that anxiety-inducing guesswork of the sniff test? Or are you ready to actively apply these science-backed protocols to eliminate foodborne illness and waste from your kitchen? You now have the exact blueprint to master the thermodynamics of food preservation.
Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, stay curious.